woman, classy, beautiful woman, mighty woman, classy, beautiful woman, mighty woman, classy, beautiful woman, mighty woman, classy, beautiful. Good morning, Facebook fam. How are you? It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, back for another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. How's it going, man? We take one day off and, we act like we don't know how to use the computer no more. Well, I act like it. What's going on with you guys? What's happening? Y'all know the drill. Let me see those thumbs ups, those hearts, those happy faces. Let me know you guys are good. You guys are awake, ready to get your work week started. You had an extended weekend for some of us. For some of us, it didn't matter. We still had to work anyway. But hopefully you got a little bit of rest. How y'all doing? I am struggling. I'm struggling. I had some issues with the computer this morning, so I was struggling a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and get my mom on so we can get started. Let me see if she will answer me. Hold on. Hey,
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful day in my neighborhood. A beautiful day in my neighborhood.
oh my God!
How is everybody? I'm fine, thank you. Got
Somebody
my
got some rest.
got my boss lady cup.
Somebody got some rest. Yo, I'm struggling. I'm trying. I don't know what I did to this computer.
I
Um,
was up at 4:30.
well,
God was
good
trying
for
to tell me
you.
something. I don't know what it was, but he was. I'm still trying to figure it out. Mm,
You should have got me up so I could make extra sure that I didn't jack nothing up on this show because I was
I
struggling
don't
trying to
know.
get this. I don't know what I did. Nobody touched the phone. I mean the computer over the weekend.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you all sideways, and I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
That's why we can't take no breaks, man. That's why we can't take no breaks. See, I was trying to do y'all a favor. We was trying to give y'all some rest. The kiddies wanted to go camping, so I was trying to give my family some time. But man,
And miss,
I should have just set up in the tent, man. I should have just set up in the
I missed you. Oh my
tent.
goodness. I missed you so much. I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself.
That's
But
why
I tell you what,
we didn't
I'm
even
going to
talk
start
either until
with,
later on.
with my confidence card. I had this talk with myself in the mirror. And here's what it says. Oh my goodness. I am worthy simply because I exist. Because I exist. God made me. And I'm worthy. I know I'm worthy. And guess what? You are worthy because you exist, because you live. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. It's it's cloudy, but
It's supposed to be sunny. Well, I
it's
can't say it's supposed to be like I'm the one running things. Listen to me.
it
It's
it
supposed to be sunny.
you know, oh, whoa, whoa. I do see the sun peeking out
Who am
between the tree leaves. Yes. It's
I?
gonna be a beautiful day, you guys.
I
September
thought, well, it's cold in here
September
to me right now. I told y'all something is going on with Lahla-Hadiya. I am freezing. But I have my office door open so I can see the sun peeking through. I'm freezing, but I'm hot. That don't make any sense. To some, I guess it makes sense. But I'm freezing, but I'm hot. I got two fans on me. Um, and so I'm hot, like, up here. And then, like, the rest of me is, like, um, freezing. I don't know.
Okay. What we gonna do about that, y'all?
Now,
Mm,
and then I was sweating for the first time yesterday. Oh my gosh. Like people who really know me know that, my daddy, I inherited it from him. I didn't sweat. So even when I was like on an apartment or whatever, I used to have to run with 2 gallons of water, one to drink and one to pour over me because I wouldn't sweat out my pores. Like my face would just, it wouldn't be dry, but it just be no moisture, like you're supposed to. Because sweating helps you cool down. Like that's your body's natural way of cooling down. And I wouldn't sweat. So like yesterday, I was sweating. My kids was like, "Mommy, you sweating?"
She got that woman's condition. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Girl,
Oh no, but
you find yourself a refrigerator.
I put my little
You
nose.
open that door and you just stick your little head right on
I
in
heard about it, but I just never thought. Who'd have thought
there.
that little old me will be going through this? This is not right. Oh, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute. Hold on. I'm not okay. So I ain't crazy. Vanita said it's nippy in B Town. So I mean H Town. So she in Hagerstown. She said it's nippy. So I don't feel
It's
so bad.
nippy.
Yes. So y'all had
Uh,
me thinking. See, thank you, sis.
wasn't
That's
that
what I'm talking
Whitney
about.
Houston's nickname? Nippy? Nippy? Yeah. But anyway, girl,
But
you just find
okay,
yourself a refrigerator.
I didn't say
You
her name was
open
nippy.
the
Then
door
she said
and
it.
you just put your little head right on in that refrigerator. You'll feel better. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so this week, let me tell y'all what we talking about this week. This week we'll be talking about building an empire. Everything that means. Like it's time to build that empire, y'all who haven't gotten started already.
Yeah.
Building an empire. And so today we'll be focused on um, turning your talent into treasure. So
Yeah.
many of us throughout this pandemic have tapped into some of the hidden talents or the tucked away, stored away, packed away talents that we already had possessed, that were already in us. And so, some through boredom, some through, now I finally have the time, um, and some through, for desperate reasons, have tapped into these talents that we have, right? And so, a part of building your empire um, and securing the bag is learning how to turn those talents into treasures. Turning those pleasures of doing certain things that you're just naturally talented in, turning that into profit. And so that's what we're going to be talking about throughout the week. We have a very dynamic guest that will be coming on Wednesday. Um, and so, and I didn't address it, but last week we were supposed to have a guest on Wednesday. We decided to move it because of some unforeseen emergencies that were happening on the other end. So they will be coming on. They'll be coming on under a different header, but they will be coming on soon. You don't want to miss it, trust me. But today, I mean, this week we do have a special guest that will be going a little more in depth with talking about these talents that you have, making them work for you, starting up those small businesses, networking, and so they'll be talking about that, securing that bag. Securing that bag, I hear that a lot. That's the new thing, securing the bag, and really what that means, and how to even get to that point. So we will have a special guest this Wednesday. You don't want to miss it. She's very dear to me. You'll see the flyer go up. I'll be sharing it throughout the today and tomorrow. I mean today, because today's Tuesday. I'll be sharing it throughout today, but she will be on Wednesday. However, today we're talking about turning our talents into treasures. Like, what does that mean? What are some of the things that we have discovered about ourselves, have finally started to recognize or acknowledge, rather, about ourselves um, that could be utilized to bring us profit, to, thank you, to help. Um, to help our families, to to help build those empires? What are some things that we've discovered about ourselves? I know there are people who have discovered these talents, like, oh my gosh, I never knew I could do this, or I did it, but I didn't know I was that good. Um, I've seen people go into bracelet making, making little charm bracelets, and now they're beginning to sell them, getting money for them. Um, I've seen people doing crochet. Um, there's a young lady that hopefully I can get scheduled to come on our show. She's one of my new designers in Atlanta, who is a dynamic crocheter. Is that what you call it? I don't know, but the outfits that come out of this woman's brain is just ridiculous. And so hopefully I can get her on the show. We kind of sync our timing up. But there are people who have started to crochet and use that um, as a means of making profit. Um, there are some who have gotten tapped into their strength, and they've done workouts and realized, oh, I can do this for the long haul. I can actually endure for an hour and a half. Let me put together a Zoom party, or places where they're actually training people. They come out, they pay a little something, and they're going through full-fledged training. Um, there are people who love to shop, so they've been taking this opportunity. I know a really beautiful queen that I know, who goes shopping, and she's bringing back different items, different name brand items, and making profit off of that. But what are some of the things that you guys do? Hey, Antoine, what's going on? Um, yeah, what are some of the things that you do? What are your talents, Mom? So we can make some money and secure this bag.
Wow. I never think of the talents that I have for making money, but I
Most
guess,
people don't. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's the whole point of it.
absolutely. So I definitely need to tap into someone who can bank that, you know. I'm still looking to make some money. Yes. In fact, I need to make some money. Yeah. I need to make some money. Um, I make pot holders.
She does. You know what? Hey, we gotta talk. I'm gonna see you today.
No,
We gotta talk.
but I do it as it's like I'm a nostalgic at heart. And when I was sixth grade, fifth grade, I used to make the pot holders with the loom, the little loop thingies. And so I got the urge to do that, uh, to pull that out of the woodwork a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And it's really it's soothing. It's like a piece for me, in making the pot holders. So I've made several. I'm waiting now on some more uh, yarn or loops to be able to make some more. And aside from the fact that I had run out of pot holders, I have an in-house chef who is super good, uh, you know, and I suddenly realized, you know what? I don't have an abundance of pot holders as I once did. So I that's part of the idea where I said, I'm going to make me some pot holders. But yes, I used to do those, and my dad would take them on his job when I was fifth grade, sixth grade, and sell them. And the people were buying them. They really were. So that's one thing I would love to go back to crochet, not crocheting, knitting. I used to knit as well. I used to rug hook. So those are things that I enjoy. Sewing, um, and there are quite a few things I do, but I do them because I enjoy doing them, and they're just. But yeah,
But
we
that's how it
gotta.
starts. Before we
Yeah.
continue, though, somebody would like to see you and all of you. They're so used to seeing us side by side, and so we're gonna get this right while I'm talking. I need you to tilt your phone or whatever device you're on, tilt it down some.
All right, here goes. I had it on the selfie stick before we went on the
I
air.
don't know what happened though. I don't
You
know.
said that's when you were upside down.
Right, I don't know why.
I don't know why you were upside down either. Okay, how's that? Is that better?
That's good. I know it's gonna fall. I know you said something earlier about it.
Too much, but um, can you see me?
Oh, we
Can you
can
see?
see you. We can see you. If you could, I don't know, without falling, if you could tilt it down just slightly.
Okay, guys, here it goes. What about that?
A right there. Okay, so that's one of the things. I know you said, "Hey, Letitia, what's going on, babes?" So that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about in regards to turning your talents into treasure, because most people do things just for the love of it. Um, at the same time, you don't really realize that this could be a means to support your family. And I don't look at it as, oh, let me just make money off of it. You know, when God talked about giving out the talent, some of those, a part of that discomfort or disappointment when the person came back with that same talent and hid it and didn't make it grow, was because what we're talking about right now. Like God gave us gifts and talents, so that it could work for us, so that we could build those empires, and ultimately build onto His kingdom. So it's sort of like doing a disservice to sit on some of the talents that we have, or just say, yeah, I'm just doing it, because I like to do it. I'm doing it for myself. I don't really want to. When you could be assisting in building a empire for your family, when you can also be assisting in building onto the kingdom of God, because there's some people who may just need to see that drive. There's some people who are thinking of doing the same thing or think they have that talent, but they're not sure. And all it takes is you coming out with it, and they're like, yo, how does she do that? And then they tap into what it is that you're doing. They reach out to you, ask you questions, or just watch. Being that light. Sometimes you're that lantern in someone else's journey. And so I feel like holding on and sitting on some of those talents. I tell my brother all the time, he makes wines, and he makes wines from natural things, like things that, like, he made this elderberry wine, and we all know elderberries are really good for you. And so he made an elderberry wine that is amazing. It tastes amazing. But I'm like, yo, why aren't you like labeling these and we, shopping these?
Yeah, I had some elderberry for my
Isn't it
communion
good?
on Sunday.
Okay, well, I can't ask you if it was good because you're not supposed to be drinking to like enjoy.
I and
I'll ask you tomorrow. Drink some today, and I'll ask
fruit,
you tomorrow.
fruit of the vine, fruit of the vine.
But I mean, there's so many things that we have that could work for us.
Yeah,
And that's another part of our culture that kind of bothers me a little bit, because we utilize our talents and our gifts. It was forcibly in the past, but now we're at a point where we don't have to give you our ideas. You don't want us here, whoever you is. You don't want us here, go handle it yourself. Let me build my community. Let me build up, the people in my culture, so that we can thrive and survive. So that our children can grow into royalty, and really grow into royalty, because there's some substance there for us to teach. There's so many people that have been growing vegetables and foods and
yes,
stuff.
yes,
Like, how many do you know how the whole grocery store started? It started with, somebody has to grow it. It started with them getting things from farmers and stuff. And now certain grocery stores, like Aldi's, still today, Giant, I think, every now and again. But Aldi's, I believe, is fully stocked from farmers.
Yes,
So
yes.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Audi's. I don't want to give out false information, but
Audis,
I believe it's
Giant has
start, but
started some
Giant has
years
started. I
ago.
know, and they'll even give you pictures and a little excerpt of the person.
Yeah.
But how do you think grocery stores start? It starts with somebody growing this stuff, you know, um, before people started trying to, you know, get greedy, and the government get greedy and add pesticides, and not just pesticides, but certain things to plump chicken up, you know. And so now we're wondering why, you know, our 2 year old looks like a 15-year old, you know, when some of us possess some of those talents to be able to say, hey, let's grow. I know in DC they have these gardens now where there's shared gardens where people can go and grow,
Yes, they
and they have
do.
these different spaces. I
My
like
church back
shoot.
home did that years ago. My church back home, 31st Street Baptist Church, whoop, whoop, um, started a garden, vegetable gardening. And you know what? It's interesting because with the share, that program they have called
Mm-hmm.
Share, where they give out groceries for a nominal fee. Um, I think it's once a month, maybe every 2 weeks. I'm not sure, but
I don't think
our
they charge for that.
yeah, they did that. My mom used to get that, and it's really a good thing. You know what? You just tapped my brain here. Um, I have
I
a
know
lot of
I ain't
trees
that
on my.
hard.
Yes, you did. You tapped my brain.
I'm
I have
sorry.
a lot of trees on my property. I wonder if there's a lumberjack in the house. Anyone who has the equipment to cut down trees, because there's all this lumber. I'm thinking, and most of them are even carpenters, because most of the trees are the oak trees and maple. Oak, I think there are a few maple, but they're oak trees. And oak is the very good wood, for the carpenters out there. So I'm going to put out a little thing, anyone who does the tree cutting, not the amateurs, because I don't want anything fall on my little house, but anyone who has access to cutting down the trees, they certainly, feel would be able to get some lumber, and people who have fireplaces, of course, would come in for burning, the wood, the logs to make logs. Yeah.
You
But
know,
yeah, we
there's
started
some people on
wheels
here.
turning.
There's some people on like Miss Doris. She make yo. Let me tell you, this is like the quick. Like first of all, she designs her canes so well that I'm like, first of all, she don't even walk with it. She just be holding it in her hand like a staff. But she bedazzles canes, walking canes. And like to see, oh my gosh, to see them like they're so. I just want one just because they look that hot. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't know she made them. I was giving credits to
Yes.
this woman at the church. I didn't know Doris made Doris. I did not know you made those
Yo,
canes.
I was like, you know, she make them right. She was like,
Yes,
oh
I
yes.
didn't know
and
that she
and
was.
there are so many, like even with that, and that's, it's so crazy that you brought that up, right? Because even with our elders who are in positions where they're in retirement, or you know, you're on a fixed income, those are things that you could do to bring in extra income, and not have to solely depend on, you know, what the person in the White House is doing or attempting to do to end things, for our elders, our loved ones. Those are things that you can tap into, and all it takes is somebody, a movable body that can actually shop the stuff for you. You know what I'm saying? And then they have this thing called Etsy, where all you need is somebody to just take it to the post office and ship it off. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you can have the money deposited. People can pay you ahead of time. You get the money and then you send it off. Like there are so many different avenues that you could utilize to get that, you know, on a in a position where you're actually making a profit from it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. People tend to shy away from it because it seems like you're taking advantage, that's just the opposite. You're not taking advantage of the opportunity that God put right before you. There is no reason in the world why we all can't have wealth for our family, for our empire. Our empire is just the children that we grow up that have children that have children that have children. That's our empire. And so there's no reason in the world why we have to succumb to the powers that be. People complain about when they get their paycheck, and you be like, God dang. You turn around and all the taxes that come out. There are
Living,
things, there are ways
living
around
paycheck to
all
paycheck.
of that, where
And not
you can
only that,
receive all your money.
not only that, let's think about working together, partnerships. Of course, that you would want to work with someone, really get to know them, or if you someone whether it's in your family, your community, or what. But people who are doing things that sort of complement each other, products, turning out products together, even with the garden thing, to get together with some type of partnership where you're growing your vegetables and fruits and what have you, and you're canning them. I used to can. That's another thing. When my before my kids were born, I used to can. I had a pantry full of pears and peaches and tomatoes and all kinds of things. This I enjoyed doing that. I did that, and I started doing it as a result of, again, a nostalgic at heart, thinking about the things my mom used to do. We survived as a result of my mom doing things at home, things she could do, things she could make, sewing. She made quilts. She made our clothes and all kinds of things. But think in terms of working with someone. There may be someone who is doing something that will complement your product, and you can work together. There's strength in numbers. Two strands are make a rope much tighter, than one. So, that's something we could think about as well,
And
working with someone.
teaching your this is a part of building the empire. You have a If you have a mate, if you're married, you have a spouse, you have children, teach your children these things. Tap into their gifts. Uncover the gifts for them, because sometimes they don't know how to uncover the gift. You notice certain things about them, and you're like, There's a young lady who I'm gonna try to get her on the show. There's a young lady that goes to school with my oldest daughter. So she just graduated middle school, and she likes to bake. So just like Layla does, she likes to bake. So she's been making little mini cheesecakes for people who don't like, who want desserts and sweets and stuff, who don't want to go out to the grocery stores and weather the chance of walking next to somebody who's infected with COVID, or they just don't like to be in that atmosphere. They rather just stay in a safe space. She started making cheesecakes. I have
Wow.
another beautiful queen. I hope she was on here. I met her through her daughter. I call her daughter my little sister. I actually employed her services for my mom's 70th birthday party, where she makes cakes and treats and little cake pops and stuff like that out of her own home. If she didn't have to, and I want to say she works in nursing, but if she didn't want to, she didn't have to. She could sit at home and just do that. There's a
Absolutely.
young lady I went to school with. She graduated after me. My mother employed her for my baby shower for my last baby, who
Oh
makes
my
cakes.
goodness.
She
Yes,
actually
yes.
does private events or special events where she actually does the whole shebang.
Yeah.
She'll do the whole setup. She can make the treats for you and everything. Like, there are so many things that God has
Yes.
given and instilled in us, where we don't have to, go out and sometimes
Should
some of us call it slaving for a paycheck.
exactly. We
There's
shouldn't
talents
have.
that we possess, and all
Yeah.
of us possess them, but
Absolutely.
we
You
sit in
you
on it.
know when and I think you're making me go back, flip back to back in the day. Now this is before my time, even before my mom's time, and our people. have always been creators. George Washington Carver. Who does that? Who looks at a peanut and come up with hundreds of products? This African American man came up with so many products. I had a list in a chart in my classroom uh, with all of the inventions by us, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The number of things, the items that were created and made by us. So when I think about it, even now, once upon a time, that was one of my things to do, working on trying to come up with uh, a product, copyright or manufacture something that had not been done or created before. Um, but that's something to think about, how people back in the day, with the cotton, with the quilting parties that they used to have, women getting together and making a quilt. I have a cousin right now who is retired from the military as a colonel, and one of her things that she has gone into now is quilt making.
Mm-hmm.
She is phenomenal. She had all of our, or as many as she could capture, uh, family members who had served in the military, any branch of military, pictures on this quilt. And it's really, we're going to see if we can get her on here as well. We have another family member who writes children's books. And in fact, I just recently had been saving a couple of books that I had, autographed copies that I had gotten for my grandkids. And it's just anything I've been trying to, and not trying. I am gonna push him till I push him over the edge. My youngest grandson, he's an illustrator. He's always like drawing, and I am trying to encourage him to be an illustrator for somebody's book, even his own. Maybe he can illustrate my book. But he used to do this, draw, and he picks it up every once in a while. I think when they have their science projects, used to have projects at school, the other children would get him to do the illustrations, but he's really, really good at it. And so I'm going to keep on pushing him to really build on that, and to do, I said, who knows, you could illustrate people's books, you could just do sketchings or whatever. And that is so many things we can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Yes. And
So,
I'm reading on here now, like Benita, look, there's no reason why your whole family shouldn't be an empire. She says her daughter started creating custom nail acrylics. She's been giving baked goods as Christmas gifts for over 40 years. People always told her she should sell them. But if I were to get back into that now, I definitely need to invest in some small kitchen appliances. I did everything by hand.
just
Um,
do
her
do the night and just
granddaughter, Brandy and
process.
John's daughter, has so many talents from crocheting to painting. Recently, baking bath salts, making bath salts. How do they
Oh,
sell,
well,
distribute their
I
products? I think the business aspect deters some from moving forward. But that's the part. That's the beauty of, like, when you're
like,
building an empire. You have people that do certain things. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, King? You have people that do certain things. So if I have the talent, I may not have the knowledge to market, but there's somebody in my family who's like, yeah, there's always somebody in your family,
always,
somebody
always.
you trust that is for the cause and not for themselves, that'll say,
Right.
yo, all you gotta do is make this stuff. Like, I'll look into what needs to happen for us to market this. Like, I have a daughter that bakes.
Mm,
I have a son that now he's getting into production. I'm like, yo, you know how many young people out here, and when I say, when you listen to his music, you would not know he was 12. You know what I'm saying? You know how many young people out here looking for beats, and they're afraid, or they're apprehensive of with going with some of these big name producers, because for fear of them taking advantage of who, them just being a little kid. Like, you could push that. My oldest daughter that bakes, I'm like, yo, what you need? because we brought home ec back into homeschooling. So what do you need to perfect? We already know you know how to bake, and she knows how to bake from scratch. So now let's decorate it, make it look pretty. You know what I'm saying? Now we've gotten the making it taste good down pat. Now let's make it look pretty so it can be marketable. You know what I'm saying? Like
Good,
that's how you
good.
invest. You
Yes, good,
start
good, good.
and you start off with your family members. You start off
Yes.
selling it to everybody. Yo, the black community got we always got family.
Oh,
You
no.
start off
Oh,
with your family
no.
members. You take that
Yes.
money. This is what I teach my children. The profit that you make when you first start out, that's not profit. That's invest money. That's invest money. You get it and it's like you don't have it, because when you get that money it goes in a pot, and that's utilized to invest, to get more, get bigger. My husband and I, we started our studio real small. Real small. We didn't have much, but he knew what he was doing. So what we had, he worked the heck out of that thing, right? We got clientele to come in for beats and stuff like that. He made the money, we put that in a pot. Once we got enough money to get certain things that he needed, instrumentation that we needed to put inside the studio, then we started pouring into that. Now we can do bigger and broader things. So now we can bring a band in, you know what I'm saying, and record, and not just one person. And so when the money came from that, we took that, put it in a pot, invested, and got bigger and more up to date electronics or sound equipment, so that now we can do some of the things that some of these 5-star studios do. People can come into our home studio and do exactly what some of these 5-star studios did. We took a chunk of that off, and he started to learn mixing and mastering. We poured that into that, invested into that. Now he's a master at mixing and mastering. Like, it takes years sometimes for certain things for you to perfect it, but you got to know what to do. You got to know what to do, and it takes, the meeting of the minds, writing down the plan, writing down the steps, finding that big goal, and breaking it down into chunks of smaller goals that, when connected, they reach that bigger goal. You know, so we started getting equipment. Now we have enough equipment to run sound. So he learned how to run sound. Then we were like, look, we might as well tap into that bag. So now we rent sound. Then I was like, okay, my husband is a musician. He doesn't really have the time to go into the business aspect of it. So I'm like, all right, well, I used to write grants. So let me tap into it. Can't be hard to write a contract. Do your research. I was into law before I graduated from high school. I just didn't feel like taking all that time. Sorry, Miss Pamela. That was too long for me. So I switched my major. But anyway, I was into law. So, like, there were certain things that I knew to look for. So I started writing contracts. Then I was like, he got a whole bunch of homies that they do gigs for pennies. I said, man, let me represent them. So all they got to do is show up and perfect their craft. All you got to do is show up. And if you a drummer, you better be drumming the heck out of that drum. Because what I'm about to ask for on your behalf, it better be worth it. So all you have to do is focus on your gift, which is playing drums. So I write contracts. I write and negotiate contracts. So after we started doing that, I was like, look, we got a company, J Live Productions. Let's rent out musicians. So we have a pool of musicians that naturally would be like, oh yeah, I take that joint. And now their whole entire the whole look of them being a musician has changed from just this, such and such say he had a gig, to you don't even get to talk to him until it's time for him to show up. I'm doing all the negotiations. Where he going to be at? Is there parking? Is there food provided? When does the event start? When do you want him to set up? When does he get to take down? After a certain time, this is what he's contracted for. So if it runs over, understand he getting paid more. You know what I'm saying? Things that he shouldn't have to think about. So we made that work for us. So not only does J Live Productions have a studio, and we produce music, and we allow people to come in and record, but I also manage and book musicians. I write and negotiate contracts. I do artist development. My husband now took the information that he received when we invested in him to learn production, and he teaches production. That's how you build an empire. Like you shouldn't have it. Everybody should be working from home. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. If you feel like working for the gut, like he still does IT work for the government. You know, I'm still doing accounting. But if you wanted to be like, yo, we just gonna do this, then you could. Like getting yourself in a position where it's a desire, not a need. You know, to go out every day and punch a clock. Like there are so many different talents that we possess that we yo our empire, the black culture's empire. You know how many things that we have input into society. Period. That we're getting taken advantage of for, even down to the whole cartoon that was coming out on Netflix, on Nickelodeon. A black guy created that first. You know what I'm saying? And so they took that, they saw it, they must have saw it somewhere, and tried to recreate and make profit off of it. So who who had the knowledge to say, hey, yo, man, you can make your own network. Yo, me and my husband right now are looking into how to create a network, build our own network, our own television network. And when you look at the price, it don't even cost that much. It don't even cost that much. We can have our own network, have certain people come on, and like you have a television station and a time slot where you can showcase your gift. There's some people who do podcasts and do it well. Like there's no reason in the world why we can't build this empire. Like I get excited when I talk about it because I'm the one that my wheels be turning and I be like, yo, let's get this work. I'm about to go research this. I'm gonna come back to you and let you know what we need to do. And don't tell my husband, he's the hustle by nature Brooklyn all day, Miss Pamela. So like like you tell him he gone, pew, and he come back, yo, I done did this, and we got this, and you try to figure out how you got it. But like, yo, we you tell us something, we like, yo, let's do it. And the time is now. Like we talk about this pandemic and the situations that have brought us to our homes. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. You can look up in nature and see how, the natural talents of, like, have you ever just, I think you talked about it, Mom, just how the natural movements and actions of just small animals like a bird or a squirrel, how they make things work for them. They make nature work for them. You know what I'm saying? They make it work. We sit at home and God has given it to us right in front of our face. It would be a kick in his face for us not to take heed to it and say, oh, there's some things that I can do. Like instead of complaining, if I don't like it, if I don't want to be if I don't want to feel enslaved to a job and punching a clock every day with only 20 minutes for lunch, you know what I'm saying? But all the food eateries is like an hour away. Or, what I'm getting paid ain't even enough for me to pack my lunch every day. Like, if you don't want to fall prey to that and you're tired of complaining about it, do something about it. Turn your talents into treasure, your passions into profit. And tomorrow, we'll be talking a little bit more about how you do that and how you actually um, partner with certain people and the support factor. Like that's another story in itself. We'll probably have to talk about that Thursday about how in our communities and in our culture we are probably, I could probably say this comfortably and know that I'm probably hitting on fact that we're probably one of the main cultures that don't know how to support each other. I think you said something about it, ma, a couple of weeks ago when you was talking about, even back in the day it was like the white man's ice is colder and it's just ice. Um
That's the idea. That's the syndrome that we've had. And not only that, we want to spend monies before we even get a profit, you know, and that's another leg or another facet of us being in business for ourselves. We've got to learn, and I and this is I'm stepping on a lot of toes right now. We want to spend the first sign of a profit, we want to spend it versus reinvesting it to make things even bigger and greater. That's one of the concerns that I've always seen, uh, is, people who have these ideas and they blossom and they just do it, they just make it happen. But instead of reinvesting and making and saving to until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, we want to spend. We want to buy all these elaborate, expensive things. We're not we're not being thrifty. We're not being smart, money smart when it comes to making money. We spend it before we even get a profit, and that's another facet of this. What we're talking about
Yeah.
is people not only being able to do these great things. It's one thing to do great things, but then if you don't know how to bank that money and make the profits and reinvest, how do you suppose people? I know it looks so tantalizing. The Oprahs and the Tyler Perrys and these folk who have millions, Beyonce even, but these are folk who are investing their talents, but they're also learning how to first off do their own thing, to keep learning until they can do every facet, every aspect of their talent. They are in control of it. They can do it. They can do it. Again, God says we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And we've got to learn how to, you know, put the faith there, put the faith to work. And not only that, to be smart about it, to be
Mm-hmm.
smart about it. And that's the area where I see a lot of us fall short on. We make a few extra dollars and we're like, oh,
Some of us spend it before it even get there and hit the account. It's already accounted for.
I'm telling you, and it's really, it's sad because we lose out because of the fact that we don't take control of our assets. We don't take control. We allow other people, white man's ice is colder.
Mm-hmm.
We allow other people to take control of that. Not only that, we want to spend, 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 spend versus, and we don't just spend for, make sense with our spending. We want to spend big. Everything got to be big, got to be exorbitant, it got to be extravagant. Big car, big house, swimming pool, basketball court, all that stuff before we can actually take care of those things that really matter, our kids' future. And we're not talking taking care of them the rest of their lives. We're talking teaching them how to fish so that
Yes.
they can fish for themselves. They will know how. This is the real investment that we have to get acclimated into. And that, that's the area where we fall short, you know? So that's one of the things I'm hoping, and I'm praying that we will be able to get some folk on here to, give us some direction as far as investments, as far as really making profits from our gifts and talents that we have, so we can take charge. I believe, and I'm pretty sure that this whole entire season that we're in is a season where we are being given the opportunity to take advantage of those gifts and work them and really make them work in our behalf. God
Yes.
has given us everything we need to do the job. And if we're sitting around uh, just fiddling while Rome is burning, then you're going to lose out even more so. So I'm really counting on us taking advantage of this time and don't be afraid to work together. But be smart in your partnerships, and you're establishing partnerships. And this thing is going to work. It can work if we are smart about it, wise about it, really.
And
And it's
if we're really smart and understand what's going on around us, we
absolutely
should make sure that we make it work. And it takes discipline. Everything that we do, basically, where we want success as the outcome, is going to take discipline. It's going to
it,
take discipline in all aspects. It's going to take discipline of actually finding the time. A lot of us, well, I don't really have that time. Well, we got time now. Some of us got a whole bunch of time right now. Don't
oh,
waste it, and get to the point where you run out of time. Because time is still moving. Time is still moving. So let's just I have to jump off. I like to do this. All right, cool, my angel. I sent you something. I sent you something. So I look forward to hearing from you. So, like, the time before we run out of time, utilize the time wisely. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to utilize your time wisely, because like God is it's when you look around, He's giving it like it's almost like, forget the open book test. He's walking the aisles and saying the answers. You know what I'm saying? So if we don't get it, if we don't get this, if we don't pass this test right here, it's all on you, because he's literally walking around like there is a big screen up showing you the answers to the questions. You know what I'm saying? It's
open
beyond
book
having
test.
an open book test.
It's open book test.
It,
It's a
it but it's beyond that now. He's like, yo, the book is open and I'm pointing it out. It's highlighted. Like, you don't
I'm
even gotta read the whole paragraph. You know?
giving you the answers, all of the answers. And
Yes.
if we don't take advantage of this now, it's now or never. Yeah.
Absolutely. So as we wrap, we wrap it up on time. How about that? As we wrap up today's segment, just let this spin in your brain. We're going to be talking about this all week. And I want you guys to be motivated. And I don't want to stop the motivation. Like, if you have questions, we rub shoulders with a lot of people, my mom and I, and my husband and I. So, like, if you have questions and you're like, hey, I want to start this up, I don't know how to go about it, you know, how to perfect this, how to get more knowledge of it, yo, hit me up. Hit me up, man. I'll find the time. I'll
Every
find the time
area.
or point you in the right direction, so that we can get this done, because a win for you is a win for me. A win for
For
you is a win for me, you know?
yes,
So, like, we got to get out of that mentality of, man, I got mine. I don't want, if you develop the mentality of a win for you is a win for me, when you break that thing down, that is something serious, because if you win, then those connected to you have the opportunity to win.
that's
And
right.
those that would snatch away my win because they aren't winning becomes minuscule. You know what I'm saying? It minimizes that. And so if you win, it's an opportunity for more people to win, which means my win, I get to enjoy it and not have it snatched from me because
Yeah.
somebody feels like they can't win and they want to take my win. You understand what I'm saying? So, like, if we all develop that mentality, there would be less drama out here. You know what I'm saying? I used to walk the street. Last thing, as a officer, I used to walk the street and talk to the Kennedy Street boys, and I'm like, yo, do you know how much skill it takes to be a drug dealer? You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, for real. I'm being for real. If you would utilize that skill in this avenue right here, yo, you'd be a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like, the math alone that it takes in your mind, like, to do certain things on the street. If you utilize that skill for good, you would straight beast it out, man. And so I know there's something in you that God has implanted that, is natural and for the cause, that you can tap into and still get the same survival financially that you think this is doing, that has uh it has less risks, less life risks to it, attached to it. So, like, yo, like, it's about educating our people, our culture, our community, and ultimately, our society. that would affect our world. Like, that's what I'm about, man. Each one teach one is what my mother always says. So let's think about that. Think about that. Put your thinking caps on today. Tap into those gifts that you have hidden inside of you, those things that you've been just doing just because you feel like it. And let's see how it can work for you. You need some help? Hit me up. Hit my mama up, yo. We'll point you in the right direction. And if I have the direct knowledge, you got it. It ain't for me to hold on to. You got it. So tomorrow, we will be speaking with a guest who actually has allowed her gift to work for her. And not only does her gift work for her, but her gift is to help others allow their gifts to work for them. And she's formed a networking opportunity. So I'm so excited. She's my cousin, y'all. She's my cousin. I call her my twin cousin because our birthdays are the same day. But I'm so excited for her to be on. And so you'll see the flyer. Get all your friends, those who are thinking about getting into their own businesses. Tell them tomorrow is the day that they want to tap in to the Morning Tea with Mommy show. All right. Mom, you got something for the people before we shut down?
Have a good day.
Hey. So y'all know I love you, and of course you know Mama Lou loves you, and obviously God loves us the most. So it is important. It is important, important, important for us to get it. It's time for us to open up our brains and receive what it is that He's trying to tell us through different people, signs, and symbols. All right. It's your girl, Neo Soul recording artist Lahla-Hadiya, wrapping up another segment of Morning Tea with Mommy. It's been real. It's been awesome. Y'all know it's always a great time. We missed you yesterday, but we are back and we are at full. We hit the ground running. We ready to get it done. All right. So we will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Don't forget, you don't want to miss tomorrow's segment. You don't want to miss tomorrow's segment. It's going to be awesome. All right. Tell your friends, tell a friend, and get everybody connected. Morning Tea with Mommy. Peace out.